I've been asked many times by my friends and family, if I can pick just one investment, what would I choose and why? Well, let's go ahead and talk about that. Now, before we jump into that, I just have two quick things I wanted to let you guys know. So the first one is, if you saw my video from earlier in the week, you saw that I talked about or challenging myself to make, edit, and post that whole video just from my phone. Ultimately, I would have been able to do that, but I wanted to use the same title that I have, or that I used at the beginning of that video, which is just a separate program on my computer that's not available on my phone. If I either completely got rid of the title or just wanted to use something different, then I absolutely would have been able to do that entire thing from my phone. So don't let just having a phone hold you back from starting a content page. Don't use the excuse of you're saving for a camera, you don't have a good setup, anything like that. The quality will come with time. Hopefully, if you start making money from those videos, then you'll be able to buy yourself a nice camera to get started, or to continue your videos. But if all you have is a cell phone right now, specifically like an iPhone or a Samsung Galaxy, then you can 100% get started with making videos. So don't hold back, just go ahead and get started. The other thing too is I will be leaving my big comfy couch in the near future. I'm working on setting up a little place in a guest bedroom I have in my house, just because I think it'll be a little bit more professional than this setting I'm currently in, as well as the room is smaller, so I'm hoping that the sound quality will be a little better in a smaller room. But that'll come in time. It's a slow work in progress, so hopefully we'll be there soon. Well, if I only had one investment that I could choose, it would be a target date fund. Alright, good talk. End of video. Just kidding. I'll explain why I like target date funds. Not everybody likes them, but I am a big fan of them, especially for the novice investor. Reason being is target date funds are professionally and actively managed funds. Now, I won't go into what active versus passive managed funds means, but essentially active managed just means there's somebody doing the work for you, rather than compiling a bunch of stocks together and then letting it ride out for years and years and years. So, as a new investor, I know starting off, I didn't have the money to pay for an advisor, I didn't have money to be buying a whole bunch of different positions, so I really needed a cheap and easy way to get started. And I started with a Roth IRA, I saw these target date funds, and they worked really well for me. And I still own many of those positions. Well, I still own that position today. And again, the reason being is because it takes the risk of me having to choose thousands of different stock positions on my own, and it leaves it up to the fund manager. The other advantage to them is that target date funds, as you get closer to the date, so let's just say you're saving for something in 2040. Well, you have 20 years of saving ahead of you. So it'll start off as a pretty aggressive fund, because really we could take on any risk right now given that there's 20 years ahead of us with the chance of that potential gain. Whereas we maybe start to hit year 2035, 2036, so on and so forth, we don't have that much time to recover from any loss that we might have incurred in the market. So the fund managers will actually go ahead and start transitioning that to a more conservative investment, generally using bonds, which is another reason why I like them, because I know a pretty good amount about stocks. I don't know as much about bonds, so that's a completely foreign territory to me. And it makes me sleep better at the end of the day knowing that there is a professional managing this for me and putting it into positions that I don't really know that much about. And to be honest, I don't have as much time to learn about them. So, I've said it before, time is money, and if you could take something off your plate, you can't create time, but if you can remove something you have to do, it's just as good as creating time for yourself. And so rather than me trying to learn a whole nother area of investing, which I have some knowledge on, again, but it's just not my area of expertise, I'll leave it to the professionals, and it's just as good as buying time for me. The other reason why I like these is because they are still a pretty cheap investment. And by cheap, I mean the expense ratios for them. The one I'm invested in is a Vanguard fund, and it's only 0.13% for an ETF of the expense ratio, and that's perfect for me. I'm invested in the 2060 target date fund, so I have a long time. Right now it's a pretty aggressive fund, but just knowing that that's kind of like my backup for retirement. So that's what I have in my retirement accounts, because to me, retirement accounts are not where you play around with money. Yeah, they're tax efficient, that's not what we're talking about here, but I would rather take the risk in like a personal account where I don't really need the money. I can withdraw it at any point in time, all that. So having my retirement in something that's being professionally managed without actually working with an advisor is a great advantage. The other thing too is if you're actually looking at the mutual fund side of these instead, then they have low purchase costs. It's only like $1,000 initial investment. So yes, $1,000 is a lot of money, but a lot of other funds have like a $3, $5, even $10,000 initial investment. So it's a good way to get a broadly diversified fund with professional management for a low cost. I'm a big believer in, you should never invest without paying attention to costs, and that's why to me these funds make sense. It's also just a really simple way to start investing with having a plan. Because again, I'm a big believer in you need to have a plan when you invest. There are times where you can play around with money, but at the end of the day, you're playing around with money and you don't want to lose it all. So just having somebody that's going to take over for you, you can watch it as you want, you don't have to watch it, but knowing it's in good hands is definitely an added bonus. A lot of times too, what I'll see is, especially when I worked in finance, is you get people that tend to overlap their funds and start to think that they're in a broadly diversified account. So what I mean by that is they'll have a target date fund, they'll have a total stock market fund, then they'll have a small, mid, and large cap fund. And it's between having those 5 funds, yeah, sure, it makes it seem like all your eggs aren't in one basket, but there's going to be a lot of overlap between those investments, and you're going to have a lot of similarities, which is not being broadly diversified. I can say it again, that is not broadly diversified. If you have multiple investments in your account, let's say you have 5 different ETFs, but it's like a Schwab large cap, a Vanguard large cap, an iShares large cap, all that, you're going to be invested in the same companies. So that's a really important thing to look at, but not something everybody takes into consideration. But the fund managers do. I think everybody thinks that a broadly diversified portfolio means having accounts at multiple different institutions with thousands of different investments inside of them. I helped somebody one time transfer an account, and I am not kidding, they had 75 different stocks in their account. And they wanted to do a partial transfer, so I had to list out all 75. That's how I know, because I had a few bonds I wanted to leave behind. But that's how I know that people just don't fully understand the diversification aspect. You only need one investment to be broadly diversified, and that's your target date funds. The other thing is too, is they don't have to be for retirement. A lot of times they are called target retirement funds, but take it even more simply than that. If you have a 10-year time horizon, it doesn't matter if you're buying a house, planning for retirement, buying a car, whatever, it's still a date that you need to access this money. And so don't look at it as it's just for retirement, but use that for your savings goals. And again, it's going to help you write out that plan for you, saying, here's my goal, here's what I have, and now you have an investment in place that's being managed for a low cost. So if I had to choose only one investment, it would absolutely be a target date fund. I hope that makes sense to you. If you have any questions, please let me know. I know this is a quick video today, but don't want to take too much of your time. If you want to get started getting in investing, let me know what questions you have. For the time being though, I think Graham trained you guys well, so I'll just say, if you can, gently click the like button, and if you'd like to subscribe, go for it. Leave a comment below with what questions you have for me, but stay healthy, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.